Okay. Hi, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It's great connecting again on this platform. So, let me reintroduce myself. I am Sampada, Senior Nutritionist and Wellness Consultant with Luke Coutinho, and I assist Luke in all his consults. So, shadowing Luke in his consults has been always an insightful journey with an hands on experience in handling varied cases ranging right from diabetes, cholesterol, BP to autoimmune conditions and cancer as well. So, one thing which I noticed as a common factor while handling these cases on day to day basis is that these conditions, as one of the major root causes of these piled up health conditions, is inflammation in the body. So today's topic which I have chosen is one of the major aspects which we definitely need to consider when it comes to addressing the inflammation in the body. So today's topic that we are going to discuss is antioxidants, the importance of antioxidants, its sources, and how we can incorporate it in our daily life easily and with natural food sources. Okay, so let's get started. So before we dive into the detail of what importance it has and what are the sources, I would like to explain what exactly is the meaning of antioxidant. Okay, so antioxidant itself, the word itself means anti-oxidation, which means something which works or fights against the oxidative process in our body. So oxidative stress is something it's very simple, that it's a piled up toxins in our body. Oxidative stress is nothing but piling up of toxins in our body, which are caused at cellular level because of the chain reactions that are happening because of the overproduction of free radicals in our body. We must have constantly heard about free radicals in many articles and in many lectures about antioxidants. We come across these words often, like free radicals. But what exactly are these free radicals? So these free radicals do impact us in a very huge way. So they have that harming capacity. So that is why we need to keep control on these free radicals. So these free radicals are basically unstable molecules which lack in their configuration, which have an incomplete configuration, which lack in energy, and they try to complete their energy by snatching energy from the other stable molecules around them. So what happens is, in their need to complete themselves and completing their energy levels, and by to make them stable, they are actually making the other stable molecules unstable. So this leads to a chain of reactions that is happening in our body at cellular level, where one unstable molecule is leading to another unstable molecule because of its hunger to complete itself by snatching energy from the stable molecule. And this leads to a chain of reaction in the body. And because of this, there is a production of free radicals in our body. So these free radicals we do require in a specific amount because they are important to fight against the pathogens and the bacteria in our body. But we do require in a very small amount. But what happens is, when these free radicals, they outgrow the number which is required in our body, it leads to chronic oxidative stress in our body. And that is why it is detrimental to our health at cellular level, because they affect the body, affect the cellular health, the cell membrane, and also hold a capacity to affect our DNA structure as well. So this is where antioxidants come into the picture. So you can imagine free radicals to be the robbers who are trying to snatch away all our valuables, and the antioxidants to be the cops who come to our rescue to take control and take charge of these robbers and to protect us from the nuisance that they are creating in our system. So these are the cops which have to come at the right time to protect us from the nuisance that have been created by the robbers in our system. So this is how antioxidants are important in our system. So what leads to overproduction of free radicals? Let's understand that. So free radicals can be caused because of various factors, internal and external stressors as well. So we have discussed in my last session of adaptogens how stress creates chronic stress creates ripple effects in our body, affecting our metabolism, hormonal balance. In the same way, we have internal and external stressors, which may lead to these overproduction of free radicals in our body. So what are these internal and external stressors? So when it comes to internal stressors, many things like, sleep deprivation, then lack of proper nutrition, erratic lifestyle, taking a lot of stress and chronic stress, it definitely leads to production of free radicals in our body. And then when it comes to the external stressors, we have so many of them which we are exposed to on day-to-day basis, like UV light, it's radiation from a mobile, electromagnetic waves because of the overuse of microwaves. And we are constantly exposed to so many gadgets. We are exposed to so many chemicals and pesticides in our day-to-day lives. So definitely that leads to the overproduction of free radicals in our body. So these free radicals have to be kept under control by taking proper precaution and by taking proper action at the right time, so that they do not affect us at cellular level, because they hold a detrimental capacity. They are the reason for lots of various health conditions, ranging right from heart inflammation to cancer as well. So they lead to inflammation in the blood vessels. They are also responsible for premature aging process. So all these are actually the free radicals lead to so many inflammatory conditions in our body. So this is where antioxidants come into the picture, and that is why it is very important to ensure that we are incorporating antioxidants through natural sources, and we are maintaining the optimum levels of that in our body. So moving on to antioxidant sources, there are two sources of antioxidants. One is exogenous source and one is endogenous source. So when it comes to endogenous sources of antioxidants, we have antioxidants which are naturally produced in our body. So out of the antioxidants which are naturally produced in our body, we have glutathione, we have alpha lipoic acid, and we have coenzyme Q10, which is CoQ10. So glutathione is the master antioxidant in our body, which holds a very important place to fight against all these free radicals, and it's produced in our liver. So we have to make sure that we hold optimum level of this antioxidant. But over a period of time, because of the chronic stress, because of the external and internal factors, the production of these glutathione is definitely hampered. And that is why we have to ensure that we take the necessary action to enhance the production of this glutathione. So how can we enhance production of glutathione? We have to see that we are incorporating sulfur-rich foods in our diet. So the sulfur-rich foods, which include cruciferous veggies, which can be onion, garlic, radish, cabbage, broccoli, and all the mustard microgreens, which are rich in sulfur. They play a very crucial role, because they're rich in sulfur. They play a very crucial role in liver health. And this is why when your liver is working at its optimum level, then definitely glutathione production also is at its optimum level. So we have to ensure that we are incorporating all these natural sources of sulfur, garlic, onion, cruciferous veggies, and also along with that, we have to ensure that we are incorporating selenium in our diet. Selenium as well as vitamin C, because these are the cofactors which are important when it comes to the production of glutathione. So what happens is, vitamin C, we always listen to, vitamin C is such a buzzword when it comes to improving immunity, right? So we'll come on to the sources of vitamin C later when we are discussing about the exogenous antioxidants. So when we'll first discuss about what other cofactors affect the production of glutathione. Yeah. So it's vitamin C intake, it's sulfur-rich foods which enhance the production of glutathione, and also selenium. Selenium also plays a very important role for the production of glutathione. So we get selenium from Brazil nuts. They are the richest source of selenium. We get it from all our nuts and oil seeds, and also alpha lipoic acid and CoQ10. So when we say cofactor, means they work hand in hand, because they are important for the production of glutathione. They themselves are antioxidants. CoQ10 and alpha lipoic acid are antioxidants themselves, and they also work hand in hand to improve the production of glutathione. So when we improve selenium, vitamin C, sulfur-rich foods, definitely naturally the antioxidant level increases. Also the same for CoQ10 and alpha-lipoic acid. So usually what happens, when someone is on cholesterol medications, there is a depletion of selenium when someone is on medication for a longer period of time for cholesterol, like statins, definitely that depletes the CoQ10 and selenium from our body. So we have to ensure that we are restoring the levels back. So sometimes we may need to take the help of supplements under the guidance of your healthcare professional. Otherwise, also for natural sources, there are certain sources which help boost the levels of these naturally in our body. So like potatoes, strawberries, lentils, peanuts, and broccoli, cruciferous veggies, and oily fish. All these help in the maintaining and enhancing the production of CoQ10 and alpha lipoic acid in our body. So these are about endogenous, which are produced naturally in our body. Moving on to the exogenous, that is the antioxidants, which we can procure externally through natural sources of food. So be ready to go into a colorful world, because I'm definitely going to explain you which color, which antioxidant that helps us remember better, so that we can ensure we are incorporating all the antioxidants in a balanced way. So moving on to the exogenous antioxidants, certain vitamins are naturally a great source of antioxidants in our body. They are anti-carcinogenic, as I said, they are amazing, and when it comes to fighting against free radicals, like vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E. They are great antioxidants, but remember one thing, vitamin A and vitamin E are fat soluble vitamins. So those who are always, trying to avoid fat in the diet, they have to ensure that they are incorporating good fats in a balanced way, because fat is very crucial when it comes to absorbing of these fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A and vitamin E. So sources of vitamin A are all the orange and yellow color fruits and veggies are rich sources of vitamin A, like mangoes, papayas, carrots, and red pumpkin, apricots are great sources of vitamin A. Vitamin E, we have our pumpkin seeds, we have sunflower seeds, avocados, wheat germ. They are all rich sources of vitamin E. So we have to ensure that we are having good amount of good fats in our body, like cold pressed oils and pure ghee, so that the absorption of these fat soluble vitamins is better in our system. And coming on to vitamin C, it is the most crucial vitamin when it comes to boosting immunity, right? So it is a very important factor that we have to maintain the optimum levels of vitamin C through natural sources as well. So amla is the richest source of vitamin C, guava, as well as bell peppers, and we have all the citrus fruits. So all these are rich source of vitamin C. Also kiwis. Kiwis are also rich in antioxidants, rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, and we have to ensure that we are incorporating these natural gifts of nature so that we can ensure optimum level of antioxidants in our body to fight against the free radicals or the robbers in our system. So moving on to the next colorful antioxidants that we are going to talk about is lycopene. So tomatoes is something which we naturally use in our day-to-day, of making food. But when we know that it is so rich in lycopene and antioxidants, so lycopene is an antioxidant which is present in tomatoes, and it has such great anti-carcinogenic properties, and it is so effective against the free radicals that when we know this, we start using mindfully, we start valuing these natural foods actually. So lycopene, which is present in tomatoes, is a great antioxidant to work against the free radicals, and it helps boost our heart health, it helps boost our liver health. So basically, whenever you heat or you cook the tomatoes, then the availability, that is the bioavailability of lycopene in the tomatoes, is improved to a great multiple extent. So make sure that you're incorporating tomato soup, a nice red pumpkin or tomato soup in balance. You are adding mixed herbs like oregano, and you are adding mint. So that makes a complete dish. It's so simple and it's so effective. So tomatoes are very effective and rich in the lycopene content actually makes it a great antioxidant source. So the studies have actually shown that the proper consistent use of lycopene in food and diet have reduced the chances of prostate cancer, have reduced the chances of heart diseases. This is so such effective with the lycopene content, the antioxidant in tomatoes. Then moving on to a purple color antioxidant, which is anthocyanins. So the favorite berries, of most of us, all the berries are so much favorite, like blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. They actually wait to have them, right? So these are rich in anthocyanins. They are rich. They have rich content of anthocyanin, because of which it gives it the blue and the purple color. It gives it that the peculiar red purple color do the berries like blueberries, raspberries, mulberries, strawberries. It has anthocyanins. So anthocyanin is a great antioxidant, and it is a great anti-carcinogenic, antibacterial antioxidant as well. So these are the colors, that are actually we can relate to and we can incorporate it. So whenever you see a color, whenever you see a vibrant color, it is sure to be rich in antioxidants. So then moving on to the most favorite, my favorite, chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is rich source of antioxidant, and we study in schools, that it's so chlorophyll is the pigment which gives the plants a green color, and it has all the sun power in it, because for photosynthesis it does require sunlight and chlorophyll for making food for plants. So it has all the sun power in it, and chlorophyll is rich antioxidant, and it helps detoxify the body so efficiently. And it's so simple to procure chlorophyll, isn't it? When we have our green leafy vegetables, when we have our spirulina, wheatgrass, it is very effective and simple way of adding chlorophyll in our diet, right? So the more I deep dive into the nutrition science, I actually get awestruck by the amazing and the most intelligent Indian tradition. So we have always seen our ancestors using this banana leaf for having their meals. It is such a simplest way, it's such a humble and simplest way to ensure that you are having your antioxidant enough. So when you put on the hot meal, the fresh food on the leaf of a banana, then you ensure that you're getting the chlorophyll content, because the chlorophyll leaches out of it because of the hot food that we are eating it. So eating on a banana leaf is the most simplest, and it actually holds a very important place in our ancient Indian tradition as well. So these are external sources of antioxidants. Also pomegranates. Pomegranates are rich in ellagic acid. They are amazing source of antioxidant. They are great when we address estrogen dominance. And they have amazing properties of improving your gut health as well, improving your immunity as well, and it gives a nice glow on your face. It's a very natural antioxidant, and it's very effective and very powerful. So just to recap what we discussed about in our overall sources of antioxidant and how important it is. So we saw that how free radicals are detrimental to our health, how free radicals are detrimental to our cellular health. And as we talk about the cellular health, we also have to ensure that the cellular energy is very important, because our overall energy and our overall metabolism is dependent on our cellular energy. And when we discussed about this endogenous CoQ10 and alpha lipoic acid, they're actually very crucial when it comes to energy production in our body at cellular level. So this is why antioxidants are so important, and we have to ensure that we can incorporate in our daily life. So we saw about free radicals, that how detrimental they are when it comes to your cell health. We saw how vitamin A, C, and E help us to restore and to protect the cellular function, cellular wall from the attack of these free radicals. And we saw about how our body is also capable of producing natural antioxidants, and how we have to ensure that we incorporate natural sources so that we can maintain their optimum level. So the vitamin A, C, and E, as well as all the fresh fruits like the pomegranates, kiwis, and red pumpkin, mangoes, papayas, all these colorful fruits. We have to ensure that we are having vibrant and colorful meals, you know, in a balance. So that is the easiest and simplest way to remember that we are incorporating antioxidants in our meals. So that's about it from my end, and I would like to answer a few queries related to this so that we can make it more effective as well. And I would like to share with you one recipe of, and before moving on to question answer session, I would like to share one recipe, my favorite recipe, which I usually use as well. So that is a rich antioxidant bowl. You know, it's a handy one pot meal. So what you have to do is you have to just boil beetroots. You have to grate the beetroots and grate carrots, add finely chopped, slightly sauteed tomatoes, and add pomegranate seeds to it. So it is a complete antioxidant bowl, rich in antioxidants, mixed with all ellagic acid, lycopene, your alpha lipoic acid. So it's a complete combination. And you can also garnish it with oregano, mixed fresh herbs. You can garnish it with pumpkin seeds to make it a wholesome antioxidant bowl. So this is one recipe which I usually use, and it is very effective and simple to me. So moving on to the question answer sessions, let's see what questions we have. Okay, so someone has asked about the recipe that which we just discussed. One second. Okay, now it's better. So yeah, the recipe is you have to take beetroots. So for example, you have to take, if you're making it for 2 people, then you take one boiled beetroot, you take one carrot and one tomato, which is slightly sauté, and one half a pomegranate. So you have to boil and grate the beet. You have to grate the carrot. You have to add the sauté tomatoes to it and add pomegranate seeds to it. So it's just mix it, add mixed herbs, so like fresh herbs like oregano, salt to taste, black pepper, and you can relish it as a complete antioxidant bowl. You can garnish it with pumpkin seeds as well to make it a wholesome dish, you know. So, okay. Next question is it good to combine fruits and veggies together? So yeah, so see, it is not usually it is not you know, advisable to combine fruits and veggies together. But when we use only for garnishing, then it's fine. When we use it, when fruits and veggies get digested in our system at different levels, you know, so in different time. So we should not usually ideally combine fruits and veggies. So we just use the pomegranate seeds for garnishing and pumpkin seeds for garnishing, and rest is tomatoes, beetroots, and carrots that we use it as a major component for our dish. Yeah, Tina. So do we have any more questions?
No, I don't see any other questions coming up, but we'll give it another minute or so for people to type in their questions, and we can take it one by one.
Sure.
Okay, there are a few more questions that have come in.
Yeah.
One question is about amla, usage
So,
of amla. So if you can
yeah. Okay. So I actually did not get the question. You know, what about amla? I mean, what would they like to know about amla? Okay, till then I take another question. Is there any particular cooking oil you suggest? Okay, so basically we always suggest cold pressed oils. You know, cold pressed oils are something that we always prefer, and you can also use pure ghee. So cold pressed mustard oil, cold pressed peanut oil is good to go. You can also have your pure ghee for cooking. Is there any relation of pimples and free radicals? Yeah, so free radicals are responsible for many of the inflammatory conditions in our body. You know, it is responsible for the inflammation in your blood vessels. For it basically is a piling up of toxins in your body, and when there is a piling up of toxins in your blood, it definitely shows it on your skin as well. So we have to make an effort to detoxify your blood. We have to make an effort to detoxify your system and to purify your blood. Wheatgrass is a great blood purifier. Wheatgrass is amazing when it comes to detoxification. Of course, other antioxidants are also great. So, since you particularly asked about skin and blood purifying, wheatgrass is something that comes to my mind immediately. Okay, will green tea be helpful? Yes, if the source is good, if you get it like non-plastic tea bags, then definitely they are good to go. Frozen amla gives equal nutrition as fresh. So yeah, so basically we have to see what source you're procuring it from. So if it has preservatives, then definitely that's not a good to go option. If it's fresh and frozen immediately, then definitely they do retain their nutrient content. Okay, someone has asked about amla, whether it's considered as antioxidant. Yes, it is amazing when it comes to antioxidant properties because amla is the richest source of vitamin C, which is a great antioxidant. So definitely it is a powerful antioxidant to consider. See, someone has asked about, I would like to answer this question. Someone has asked about oral glutathione. When we naturally can procure these, you know, our body has a natural capacity to make and to produce this glutathione. It's a master antioxidant in our system. So when we can naturally have food sources which enhance the production, we have to make sure that we are also making some lifestyle changes for overcoming the overproduction of these free radicals, getting proper sleep, overcoming the chronic stress, also doing the lifestyle changes, avoiding refined food, refined processed foods, which actually play a very important role, huge role in rather in this overproduction of free radicals. So we have to keep a check on alcohol intake, smoking. We have to keep a check on the processed foods and the refined foods. We have to avoid all that, like refined sugar, refined oils, packaged foods. All these things hamper the production of glutathione and the natural antioxidants as well. So we have to ensure that we are keeping all these things. The using of plastic, if we use the plastic, if there is an overuse of plastic, and definitely that is also one of the major concerns and causes of this hampering the natural production of glutathione. So we have to ensure that we are keeping all these things at the bay, and we are incorporating it naturally through natural food that we discussed. So definitely we don't need to go for external supplement if there is a if we are keeping in check our lifestyle, if we are keeping in check our natural nutrition levels. Okay, also to raw salad, adding an apple or pomegranate is okay. So see, pomegranate seeds, we just have to garnish it, you know, and otherwise we always prefer having fruit and veggies differently before meal 2 hours or after the meal, you know, 2.5 to 3 hours. So we have to keep enough gap between our meals and fruits. And fruits are best when are taken at empty stomach in the morning as well. So because there is a high absorption that is happening in our body is fasting for the whole night, and whatever you give it in the morning is definitely going to absorb to the best extent. So definitely don't ever start your day with tea or refined sugar, not at all. Please, you can opt for fresh fruits at that particular time. Don't have your fresh fruits with meals. Don't have your fresh fruits with other meals at all. That's never advisable. So you always keep a gap of 2.5 hours between the two intake of fruit and your other meals. Okay, so someone has asked about if I eat antioxidant rich foods, do I need to use additional antioxidant supplements? Not at all. If you're ensuring that you are having all the natural, vibrant, colorful antioxidants that we discussed in balance and regularly, then you definitely don't need to look out for supplements, because see, also there are many other factors that we have to look. We have to look on the other health parameters as well. How is your absorption? How is your gut health? It all depends on that. So if you are having all the best possible food in the world, but if you're not absorbing it right, then definitely that is of no use. So that is, it's not only about the sources of antioxidants, it's about how you absorb it. So we have to ensure, we are working on sleep quality, we are working on the gut health, we are working on proper lifestyle and exercise as well. So we have to make sure we are working on our lifestyle correctly, so that we are absorbing the right nutrition, and then we don't need to go for any external remedies like external supplements. Even if you go for external supplements, it's not going to get absorbed, if your gut health is not proper. So addressing the root cause is very important. Yeah, Dina.
But we can just take up one last question and then we can recap.
Okay, sure. Only veggies causes bloating for many. So there is a question which says only veggies causes bloating for many. Yeah. So for bloating, definitely you have to address the gut health over here. We have to ensure that what are the triggers, what are the inflammatory triggers that are causing your gut health to hamper. We have to first remove all the triggers. We have to rebuild the gut with the right combination of food. Then bloating won't happen. So you can go for AJS mixture like ajwain, jeera, and soft mixture to overcome bloating. You can have this mixture against after your meals, and that will help you overcome the bloating. But again, you have to address what exactly the root cause. Are you sleeping well? Are you not stressed? And are you focusing on your exercise and nutrition properly? Then definitely this is something which we can address naturally. Can we have, I would like to answer this question because it's very common. Can we have fruits as a dinner? Not at all. Never have fruits after your sunset, after the sunset, please. Never have fruit after the sunset, because we have to have fruits in the earlier part of the day, especially in the morning. It's always preferable. Don't have your fruits after sunset. Yeah, I'm done, Tina.
Okay, so with that, I think we'll wrap this session up. For all those who have any additional questions for Sampada with regards to antioxidants, they can reach out to her on her Instagram handle. I've posted that in the chat section. It's Sampada_Bakshi. And you can post your questions there, and I'm sure Sampada would be happy to respond to them. All right. Thanks so much, Sampada, for your time. And thank you, everyone, for joining this call today. We should see you again soon.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Tina.
evening, everyone.
Thanks, Tina. Thanks, everyone.